My wedding day was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. After months of planning, endless stress, and countless hours spent perfecting every detail, I was ready to walk down the aisle and marry the love of my life, Daniel. He had been my rock through all the chaos, always knowing exactly how to calm my nerves with a simple smile or a whispered promise of forever. Daniel and I met 5 years ago at a bookstore. I was reaching for a novel on the top shelf when he appeared out of nowhere, offering to help. We ended up talking for hours over coffee, discovering a shared love for travel and a dream of building a life full of adventure. From that day on, he became my partner in everything. His kindness, humor, and unwavering support made me fall deeply in love. Standing at the altar, seeing his eyes light up as I walked toward him, I felt an overwhelming sense of joy and gratitude. But my sister-in-law, Grace, had other plans. Grace had always been a bit of a wild card in the family. She thrived on drama and seemed to enjoy stirring the pot. Still, I didn't expect her to turn my wedding into a circus. It started with her arriving nearly an hour late, disrupting the flow of the ceremony preparations. To make matters worse, she showed up in a white dress that looked suspiciously bridal. I tried to keep my cool, but I could feel the tension bubbling under the surface. The ceremony began, and for a brief moment, everything felt perfect. That was until Grace decided she needed to make a scene. She loudly complained about her seating arrangement, demanding to be moved to a more prominent spot. Then, during the speeches, she got drunk and heckled my maid of honor. By the time she knocked over the wedding cake while arguing with a waiter, my patience had run out. My wedding day was officially a disaster, and Grace was at the center of it all. In the weeks that followed, I couldn't shake my anger. Grace had not only ruined my special day, but also embarrassed me in front of friends and family. I decided that if she could disrespect me so blatantly, I wasn't going to hold back any longer. That's when I stumbled upon a secret that would change everything. While scrolling through social media, I noticed some strange interactions on Grace's account. She frequently liked and commented on posts by a man I didn't recognize. A little digging revealed he was a coworker of hers. Curious, I asked a mutual friend if they knew anything about this guy. What they told me left me stunned. Grace was having an affair with him. My brother, Adam, her husband, had no idea. I wrestled with the decision of whether to tell Adam. Part of me felt it wasn't my place, but another part of me couldn't stand by and let him be deceived. After all, Grace's actions had already caused so much chaos. Eventually, I decided he deserved to know the truth. When I told Adam, his reaction was a mixture of disbelief and devastation. He confronted Grace, who initially denied everything. But when presented with the evidence, she broke down and admitted to the affair. Adam was shattered, and their marriage began to unravel. What I didn't anticipate was how this revelation would affect the rest of the family. Grace, furious at being exposed, accused me of ruining her life. She called a family meeting, hoping to turn everyone against me. Instead, it had the opposite effect. The family took sides, and long-buried tensions began to surface. During that meeting, Adam confessed he'd been unhappy in his marriage for years. He revealed that Grace's affair wasn't the only issue. Their relationship had been strained for a long time. This admission opened the floodgates for other secrets to come out. My parents, who had always presented a united front, admitted they had been living separately for months. They'd kept up appearances for the sake of the family, but the cracks in their marriage were undeniable. My younger sister, who had always seemed quiet and reserved, shocked everyone by announcing she was planning to move abroad to escape the family drama. She admitted she'd felt overshadowed and ignored for years and was ready to start fresh somewhere far away. Through all this turmoil, Daniel was my anchor. On nights when the family's chaos felt unbearable, he would pull me into his arms and remind me of the life we were building together. One evening, as we sat on our porch watching the sunset, he took my hand and said, "No matter what happens, it's you and me against the world. This is just the beginning of our story." His words filled me with hope and reminded me why I had fallen in love with him. He was my safe haven, the one constant in a world that felt like it was falling apart. But just as I thought things couldn't get worse, another bombshell dropped. At a tense family dinner, Grace, desperate to deflect attention from her actions, revealed that Adam had been hiding his own secrets. She claimed he had been gambling away their savings for years, leaving them on the brink of financial ruin. The revelation left everyone in shock, especially my parents, who had loaned Adam money several times without knowing the truth. The chaos spiraled further when my mother, in a rare moment of anger, accused my father of having an affair during their marriage. My father, stunned but cornered, admitted it was true but insisted it had ended years ago. The room erupted into shouting, accusations flying in every direction. Daniel held my hand tightly under the table, his grip grounding me as the family imploded before my eyes. As the night wore on, secrets continued to spill. My younger sister tearfully confessed she had been involved in a toxic relationship that she'd kept hidden from everyone. The stress of the family drama had been a major factor in her decision to move abroad, but now she felt even more isolated. Meanwhile, Grace, emboldened by the chaos she had unleashed, declared that she didn't regret her affair and deserved happiness no matter the cost. The family dynamic quickly crumbled. Trust was shattered, and relationships that once seemed unbreakable were now strained to the breaking point. Grace moved out of the house she shared with Adam, and divorce proceedings began. My parents started discussing the logistics of a formal separation. My sister's plans to leave the country became more concrete, and she booked a one-way ticket within weeks. As for me, I was left feeling conflicted. On one hand, I hadn't planned for any of this to happen. My intention was simply to stand up for myself and expose the truth about Grace's behavior. On the other hand, I couldn't ignore the fact that my actions had set these events into motion. Daniel, ever supportive, reminded me that while the fallout was painful, it was ultimately a result of choices the others had made. I couldn't be held responsible for secrets they'd chosen to keep. The family gatherings that once brought us together now felt like a distant memory. Holidays were split, with different factions of the family choosing sides. Grace's actions had caused chaos, but the revelations that followed exposed deeper issues that had been festering for years. My wedding had been the tipping point, a catalyst for truths that couldn't remain hidden any longer. In the end, I learned that families are far from perfect. Beneath the surface, there are often secrets and struggles that no one wants to acknowledge. While my wedding day didn't go as planned, it became a turning point for my family, a painful but necessary reckoning. And though the aftermath was messy, it taught me the value of honesty and the importance of standing up for myself, even when it's difficult. Most of all, it reaffirmed my love for Daniel. Together, we'd face whatever challenges came our way, knowing that our love was the foundation we could always rely on.